Good morning, everybody. We have made it to November. Hey, hey, hey. And this month we're going to talk about praising. You know, it's the month of Thanksgiving. So it's time to up-level our thinking, up-level our enthusiasm, and our awareness that things are really good. Now, it's easier to believe that if you're not paying attention to anything else going on in the world, okay? So I get that. But it's time to upthink and uprise and share our good and become that one powerful force that can really start to change our world. Our version of our world is the world we should be ready to take out to everybody else. And we do that from a place of love. We do that from a place of respect. And we do that from a place of just allowing us to have the infinite be our focus. So today we're going to talk about the Sea of Plenty. And I'm sure you've all heard the statement, the declaration, when one door closes, another door opens, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one that sometimes just stands there and stares at that closed door thinking, darn, what did I do wrong? And maybe beat myself up a little bit. And yes, when a door closes, there are probably some life lessons that are worth considering. But standing and staring at that closed door, just like standing in the past, is not serving us. It's not serving our greater good. And neither is standing there in the present moment looking for the new open door, right? Because we can stare and stare and stare, but until we're ready to receive that open door, we're never going to see it. And that is why today I want to talk about the idea of being open to the infinite. When we are open to that infinite, that one divine presence, when we're open to that, that is the place to start. And when we start there, we don't have to seek doors opening. They just open, and we get to select. We get to choose which door we're going to open next. Like, which one of these do we want to take? I don't know, there was a game show once, right? Pick a door. Any door. But all the doors had good stuff in them, behind them, right? See, that's the kind of life we are here to live, with doors to select from, and every time we open one, it's like, whoa, I'll take that. Because we live in a sea of plenty. And yes, sometimes we're like that fish wanting to know where the ocean is. But if we just stop for a moment, we can feel that current of the ocean, sense its warmth. And we can just allow ourselves to take a pause, to relax, and recognize we really are in a sea of plenty. The founder and author of Science of Mind wrote, in the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want. Humanity lives in want. Because it's easy. It's easy to try to fit in and live from that place of wanting more instead of knowing more. So, Eric Butterworth, one of my favorite authors, he wrote Spiritual Economics. And if you haven't picked it up, you're in for a treat. But he has a much more in-your-face way to put all of this. He says, many people go through life holding a tin cup under the Niagara of God's plenty. It's a small fry expectation that usually manifests a string of saving, making do, can't afford it consciousness. It's marginal living at its best. It's what we might call in tune with the indefinite instead of with the infinite. I don't know about you, but living in partnership, living as the expression of the infinite sounds so much better, doesn't it? I mean, the infinite, it's the source and supply of everything. The infinite, it is that flow of abundant good that is always making its way towards the ocean. It is the substance in back of, in front of, and through all things. It is that infinite horn of plenty that is ours. We just take a moment and allow space. Jack and Cornelia Addington wrote in Your Needs Met, we draw our experience out of the infinite. There is no great or small as far as God is concerned. There is only the fullness. If we can accept our good, God is willing. The infinite mind is ready. The question is, how much are we willing to receive? And how much are we willing to give? Because it's that circle of life. The giving, the receiving, the taking, the blessing, and the praising. It's just sort of how it all flows. Can you honestly say that you believe? This, I don't want an answer. I just want you to contemplate this idea. Can you honestly say that you believe that there's an abundance of love and peace and joy right here, right now, within you, within everybody in this room, within everybody online, right here and right now? There is so much for us to celebrate and praise if we're willing to see it, to know it, to come from that place within. This week I did a little video, and it was from something I read in Living the Science of Mind. And I'm going to repeat it only because it really touched me. And it was Ernest Holmes. He was talking about the idea of, we can say that we are one with God. But that kind of implies a separation, right? One with, like there's two of us. But what if we are of God? What if everything is of God? And if I am living my life of God, I am living a life of love. I am living a life of good. I am living a life that is receptive. See how much powerful we are when we recognize that we are of God? Because there's no place where God is not. There's nothing that is not God in divine action and expression. We may label it different, right? But it's the truth. And so from there, I am just reminded by Holmes that there is just the divine mind of God. And it contains all the knowledge and all of the wisdom. But we, our individual we's, need to be open and willing to take that pause and know that truth and seek the kingdom within and praise the kingdom within. We are not only in an election cycle, but we're also in the beginning of holiday crazy, right? Because holiday time, we either have too much on our calendar and on our plate, and we're overwhelmed, or we have not enough and we feel lost and lonely. So prioritizing self-care starting today, I believe, is our pathway towards a wonderful November. And sometimes it may seem like we're being selfish by taking time for ourselves. But it is so critical to recharge our batteries. It is critical for us to take that time for ourselves and relish it and not worry about what the rest of the world is doing while we're doing it, right? Because when we are able to fully suit up and show up, when we are willing to come together as a community in love and support, when we are willing to put ourselves first, then we become much more in tune with the infinite and much more willing to see ourselves as of God. I read the following post, and I just have to share it with you guys. I lied and said I was busy. I was busy, but not in the way most people understand. I was busy taking deeper breaths. I was busy silencing these irrational thoughts. I was busy calming this racing heart. I was busy telling myself that I'm okay, that it's all okay. And sometimes this is my busy, and I will never apologize for it. So let's get busy taking care of ourselves in however that looks. It's not selfish, it's essential. And in a world where we're so driven to do, it's time to be a good bee, as they say. And to allow ourselves to have that intention of praising life. There's a parable of the tides, and it goes something like this. There's a gentleman named Leo, and he goes fishing every weekend. And he takes his pole and his net, and he gets to the ocean, and he's like, I think the waves are just too strong today. I won't catch any fish. Or he might say to himself, I think there's a strong undercurrent. I'm sure there are no fish. And occasionally, he thinks to himself, it's so quiet. I bet the fish have moved on to cooler waters. One day, an elder comes up to him and says, Leo, do me a favor. Join me and let us approach the sea together today. And he walks Leo down to the shore. And he says, it's a beautiful day, and the ocean is so full of life. And there is just such goodness. Notice how wonderful the sun feels today and that cool breeze. There is just so much good flowing today. And today is the day. So Leo says, okay, I can go there. He casts his net out, his pole, whatever, and there's an abundance of fish. To his amazement, from there on, when he goes to the sea, he walks as if the elder were with him, knowing the abundance of the world. That is how powerful, that is an example of how powerful our consciousness is. And we all, I'm sure, can point to a day when we set an intention, fully believing that this is a great day. And it went on to be a really great day, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. We all can point to those days. We can all also point to those days where it was like, oh my God, it's so dark out now, right? That's what the next one's going to be tomorrow morning, right? It's so dark out now. I don't want to get out of bed. It's so nice and warm here. It's going to be a crazy day. People are going to be irritated because it's so dark out, right? We can go down that path as far and as often as we want. Because our consciousness is so powerful, we can create that kind of a day. Michael Singer wrote a book, The Untethered Soul, and in it he says, the more you are willing to let go of limited thinking, the more room you have to receive. Holmes mirrors that when he talks about the less you resist, the more you receive. It's not about resisting anything. It's about just taking a pause and going with the flow. So how do we do that? We declare every day, or more days than not, that we're open to receive, that we are willing to be receptive to more good, knowing the more good we bring in, the more good we have to give out. Then we develop a gratitude ritual, not just in November, but throughout the year. We allow ourselves to remember at night how blessed the day was. And even for the not so good stuff, to be blessed that it's not in our head or in our heart right now. We've put it behind us. And if you're looking for help in that, see one of our practitioners. Because having someone else hold that with you, so much power. And then it's about letting go of limited beliefs. First, we have to notice when we're having one of those limited beliefs, like, it's going to be so dark tomorrow morning, and moving beyond it. Those limiting beliefs of, I am not, when in fact, you are of it. Gives a whole new expression to that, a whole new definition to that line, you're full of it. We are full of it. And it is good. And it is powerful. It's our truth. Which is why it's important not only to be selfish and do self-care, right? But to allow others time and space for self-care. To remember that we're entering into a holiday season where there are people who need help with self-care. There are people who are ready to receive the good that we have to give. And so with that and knowing that the only thing limiting us is our false beliefs, that we're not full of it, I'd like to ask Pete to come up. Speaking of.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Pete Wagner, and I have no idea why I'm up here. No, I do. I'm full of it. This morning I woke up thinking about CSL, and I was compelled to get up this morning and to share some things about my life. There was a time in my life and Julie's life that I was really dependent on the goodness of other people. And I was thinking about this time of the year, being the holiday season coming up and everything that's out there and the abundance that we have. So I wrote some things down, and if I could read my writing, I'll tell you a little bit of what I was thinking. This morning I was thinking about the community that CSL means to me, that it is about that life and love, and that we are the givers, and that we can continue to be those givers, not just on Sunday. We can do that every day of the week. And that it just requires us to get over that fear and have that faith that we can take that action. And that's where I struggle. I'm probably sure a lot of people struggle, is that faith to take the action needed to do something. And I wrote down some things. Well, what does that mean to me? Well, I came up with 3 things about action that I thought would help. It helped me, and maybe this will help you. The first thing I put down was, the first action was to be part of this great community, to be part of CSL, which means I need to show up on Sundays. I need to make one commitment, one day out of 7. Just come on in here and be part of this community, because it's what gives me hope that I can be more than who I am. And that is just being part of something. And to see you physically here means a lot. So that maybe I can give back to other family and friends and neighbors that when they are in need of community, I can say, hey, come and join our community because I love it. And I mean it from here. That's important to me to share that. So being here is a big part of sharing that. The second thing I thought was really important for me was this thing that scared me away from most of the churches I ever belonged to or the other CSL groups that I've been part of, and that is this idea of tithing to the church. And what did that mean? Generally, that meant giving money. And I thought back then, I didn't have money to give. Matter of fact, people were reaching out to us. We were living in a pop-up tent trailer and building a house, and we were trying to figure out how to feed our kids. We had 2 kids with us. And when the community up there, the churches up there, reached out and got us food and got us involved in the community and helped us with our Christmases, that we got through those tough times. And there's a lot of families right now that are having some tough times. And so tithing to community is important because CSL doesn't just spend the money on CSL. They spend the money on the community. Maybe we don't know who that community is, but there are programs out there. And if you read the newsletter like I did this morning, there's a little thing on the bottom that talks about PRISM. And PRISM is a community that helps people in need with food, and they've got something coming up that I think we're going to try to do, and that is to put together a charity contributions like a Toys for Tots or a sponsorship, and I'm going to work on finding out what that is, and maybe we'll put the list together, and if you feel compelled to help another family, you'll reach out and do that. That'll be important to do. And then I think the last thing I was talking about in my life was how crazy the holidays get. And I always had fear of the holidays because, it's that time where you get together with your crazy family and you kind of go, why do I do that? I don't know why I'm here. They're just upsetting me. And we're overeating and we're buying things for each other that we probably don't need. And I think being part of CSL, being part of this community and showing up on Sunday, it's just one day a week to do that, and to tithe, whatever you can tithe to the church, is that way of being part of the family. And I just wanted to get up this morning and to share that. And that's why she said I was full of shit. Anyways, sorry I said that. Full of it. Oh, I put the wrong word there. Anyways, thank you. I hope to see you all here more.
All right, before you sing, I have to wrap it up. Because we have to wrap it up. And how are we going to wrap it up? Like we always do. There's an assignment. You ready? There's an assignment. And the assignment is for today because you got an extra hour, right? So here's your assignment. I invite all of us to create a yes list. A list that focuses on what makes me feel good. What makes me feel like I'm taking good care of me? Maybe it's a nice long bath. Maybe it's a half an hour of just sitting in the silence. Maybe there's a favorite song or playlist you've got. Maybe it's just spending some time with someone that you really love. But make a yes list, a list that you can just go to and remind yourself, I can be busy doing what's on this list. This can be my busy for today. And just select something every day from the yes list. Just one thing. And if you feel bad about it, make it a short thing. Make it an extra 5 minutes in the shower. I don't know what it is, but have a list. So when you're feeling sort of crazy, you can go to your yes list and you can get busy being full of it. That's your assignment this week. Ernest Holmes, in closing, says, life responds to us the way we respond to it. So let us respond with care and love and peace and joy, and let's just fill the space with all of that. So it is.